Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here, especially at late notice. We just sent out the notice for today's meeting, extra meeting 24 hours ago. With your attendance, we've presented to over 400 members. The video that we sent out a couple weeks ago, we've had over 900 views. Brochures have been sent to all members, and we certainly feel that you hear our voice, and that's terrific. Let me say that going forward, voting starts next week, and the voting window is a few weeks long. If you have questions, please come and see me or email me. I'll spend as much time with you as you want. I want you to be an educated voter going forward. I'm here to present the challenges and the opportunities for our various amenities. Let me say first, though, that we are a very special club. A lot of members, a lot of residents have moved to the Brooks because of the Commons Club, and that's wonderful. And we're more than just a wonderful beach club, and we're more than a state-of-the-art fitness center. We're a bundle of services and functions and amenities, all positioned in two picture-perfect locations, on the Gulf of Mexico at our beach club and here at the Commons Club. We remain a premier club, and we remain a great value to our members. 5 years ago during transition, the club leaders took pause and talked about the future of the club. They wanted to make sure that the business model was going to remain relevant going forward. When Bonita Bay created this business model 15 years ago, it was quite cutting edge, and we're quite a hybrid club. You don't see this club model really anywhere else in the United States. So during transition, which obviously was very tough and troubling and expensive, they took pause. I think we can now say 5 years later that it was a really good decision and a really good investment. This graph shows you 4 of our areas, a snapshot of our business growth. Some of them are in dollars, some of them are in visits. In all of our services and amenities, we have grown over the last 5 years. Obviously, the beach club is one place we don't want to grow, and we're working on that, as you know, especially with parking. Over the last 5 years, our membership has also remained just stable. You could even say flat. We have 60 or 70 members join the club each year, and we have 60 or 70 members leave the club each year. So that's about a 2 or 3% turnover, which is typical in communities. With a stationary membership, we have grown all of our businesses, and that's one of the reasons we're here today. Another reason we're here is because of the competition. I live in North Naples. I drive to work on Livingston and Three Oaks. It's 13 miles away. I could count 22 developments that have broken ground, are in the middle of construction, or have just been completed. A lot of those developments don't have country club settings and golf courses, or much in terms of amenities. But the larger developments that are being built around Southwest Florida have it all. 5 or 10 years ago, you can have a golf course and a clubhouse, some tennis courts, and maybe a pool, and that was terrific. For today's consumer, as you can see from the marketing, the advertising, private clubs and communities are advertising resort-style living. In the old days, if you wanted resort-style living, you would go on a vacation for a week or so, and you had it all in for 5 or 6 or 7 days. In today's wonderful world, we expect that day in and day out in our backyard, and that's terrific. We think we offer close to resort-style living at the Commons Club, between the beach and the fitness and the restaurant and the Richmond Center and everything that you have in your own communities. But we're finding that the competition is catching up and sometimes surpassing us. For our sister clubs that we compete against, and these are clubs like Bonita Bay, Mediterra, Quail West, we compete in a different way with them, but they have expanded their amenities and their services over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. When you look at those 3 clubs for their fitness center, and I know we're not the exact same match, but if you look at, let's say, Spring Run or Copperleaf or Shadowwood and us, we come very close with the amount of members and so forth, and the capital investment and the dues and so forth. Their fitness centers are being expanded to 12,000, 15,000, and more than 20,000 square feet. We're at about 6,000 right now. we would like to expand to 10,000 because we know that's the proper square footage for the future. So I want to jump into each of the amenities and talk about some of the nuances of the businesses and why we're asking for some capital dollars. We'll start with the restaurant. We have a very busy, robust restaurant. It's a standalone restaurant. We serve over 20,000 meals every year. We're open year-round. In the summertime, when many of the country clubs, most of them, are only open 1 or 2 nights, our restaurant is open 4 nights. We cater all the meals. The photo of the dinner on Blanc that you saw, that was over 400 members on the green that came from the restaurant. It was a very successful night. Our concert last week with over 300, all the dinner stations were from the restaurant. We had Unplugged this last Tuesday, over 200 on the green was from the restaurant. Lobster night is being served tonight for 150 members. When we do lobster night at the beach, that's also from the restaurant. So a lot comes out of our restaurant. We also serve 5 communities. Let me tell you, as both a country club general manager and also as a country club executive chef, I started my career at the Port Royal Club many moons ago. It's tough for a chef to cater to their members. We're in the business of creating smiles and giving to you what you want. In the restaurant, that makes for a very long menu or a lot of fine-tuning of dishes that go out because there's so many preferences. That's a tough equation for all country club chefs. In our restaurant, we serve 5 distinctive communities, all with various wants and needs and preferences. And we struggle with finding the right menu mix to make everybody happy. A lot of members want casual. A lot of members want fresh fish and higher-end entrees. Our board and management team have decided going forward, we're going to put a committee in place and decide what the future, the definition of the restaurant is. And we're going to stick to it. And there will be some members that probably will say, well, that's not for me. Personally, I like high-end dining. That's my style, which is pretty hard to find in Southwest Florida now because everything is so casual and laid back. If that was going to be our restaurant, I probably wouldn't frequent it, except if they had other related activities. But we're going to put some additional work into it and really try to define ourselves. We've also had many successes at the restaurant over the last 4 or 5 years. One of them is financial. We have the tightest budgets that the club has ever had for the restaurant operation. It costs us about $300,000 to operate the restaurant. It's an amenity. In the old days, it cost $600,000 or $700,000 to operate it. We meet our budget each year, and the last couple of years we've come slightly better than budget. We also see our traffic increase in the restaurant year after year, which is great. And thirdly, we see our survey results improving year after year for the last 3 years. We certainly have a ways to go. We certainly receive a lot of comments. In the old days, going back 5 or 6 years, up till last year, we used to use survey cards in Rosie's. They were being your check presenters. Most of the survey cards had really nice results, very complimentary and so forth. We're not sure if it was because members had 2 cocktails by then, but there was a disconnect between those comment cards and our annual survey. The annual survey, the restaurant gets much lower ratings. And the board and management team always wonder what was going on. So we changed everything. We're still going to do the annual survey. You'll receive it in about 5 weeks. But since this summer, we put everything online. So when you dine at the restaurant, you may receive an email from us, from our admin staff, the next day saying, go online and fill out a 30-second survey. It's become much more efficient. The board could look at the results all the time, the management team and so forth. And that takes away the comment cards and any confusion of where we really stand. So on the screen right now is where we stand with service. This is through yesterday. For almost 500 members rating the restaurant from the summer. We don't send the emails out to every single diner, but we send them out to a lot, and not every single diner comments. We have a lot of members that dine at Rosie's week after week after week, and we notice that they may fill out 1 or 2 surveys, but they won't do it after every dining experience. So with our service experience, we think we're doing pretty good, and this is really where we should be. More than 92% happiness with the service staff. Food is a little more challenging. We have 80% of our members in the last 6 months that have said we're doing excellent or very good job. We have 15% that say average. And we have about 5%, which for this survey is about, amounts to 25 or 30 members that said didn't like it, wasn't happy for whatever reason. The top line, that's our objective, that's our goal. And as you can see, we have work to do. If you look at the bottom line in 2014, 58% of the members that we surveyed said the restaurant was excellent and very good, and 31% said average, which obviously is not acceptable. So we think from the annual survey, we're doing better. We can't wait to see how you rate us with this next up-and-coming survey. This is what we use as a tool right now. Okay. The reason we're talking about the restaurant, the biggest reason, is because of the competition. Country club restaurants, for the most part, thrive. They're very expensive animals, but country club restaurants thrive because they have a captive audience. Golfers have lunch afterwards. You go to the dinner dances and so forth. You want to see each other. Our restaurant is a little different. It's standalone. It's a second choice to your club restaurant if you have one. But besides that competition, we have to compete against every restaurant in Southwest Florida. And we can't really specialize in anything, which creates an issue when you're at home and you're deciding where you want to go. The question is asked, where do you want to go eat? A lot of time that question leads to, what are you in the mood for? Italian or steak or a burger or Thai or sushi. When you think about Rosie's, you don't think about any of those themes because we have to do everything for everybody. So the menu has to be very broad, everything from sandwiches to sophisticated entrees. We are going to further define what the restaurant stands for in the short term, and certainly by the start of the season, October. But one of the easiest ways, not easy in terms of expense, but one of the best ways we could differentiate ourselves is to take better advantage of the beautiful green. 58% of our members in the last survey said they wanted outdoor dining. And many, many members asked different ways, said they wanted us to take better advantage of the green. We think the proposal that you have in front of you does that. We would like to remove the lanai. It's a small area. If you saw the video, you know what I'm talking about. On the back of Rosie's, it seats 4 tables, seats 16 to 20 members. We'd like to remove that and make it into a dining space, lakeside, open air, that seats 50 or so. In addition to that, we'd like to take the interior of the restaurant, take out the windows and the walls, and convert that into nano walls. So on days and nights like today, those doors would be opened up and be pushed out of the way, and the interior of the restaurant would naturally flow to the outdoor area, the lake and the green. The third thing that we'd like to do at the restaurant is to make the bar more of an outdoor bar experience. We want to do this by removing the green awning, bringing nature closer to the bar, taking a bar and turn it, and Dave, our architect, will show you this in a rendering in a few minutes, and have seating both indoors and outdoors around that new bar. Adjacent to the refined restaurant experience, the Long Range Committee has come up with a great idea of a casual seating area. In the 2014 survey, 50% of our members said they wanted casual seating around the green, and they also said 50% wanted fire pits. The best location for that is on the lake, across from Preserve, and adjacent to the restaurant. If you've been to presentations in let's say, the last 2 years, and you heard me speak, I mentioned social engagement a lot. At the Commons Club in the past, we were lacking a little bit in social engagement. A lot of our members come and go for singular activities. You don't belong to a club, though, to do a single activity. You belong because of the social connections. That's front and center. You don't play golf because you just enjoy playing golf. You play golf because you enjoy the experience with your friends and meeting new people. At the Commons Club, for 12 years, we had a gazebo that was empty. empty of people. So we filled it with furniture a couple years ago, and now we have members that sit, have a conversation, enjoy a glass of wine, read a book, meditate. The other night, I had my aunt and uncle from Cleveland. We had dinner in the gazebo, and it was picture perfect. That has created a socially dynamic area for people to relax and enjoy the green. We've also seen this at our pickleball courts. We introduced pickleball as an extension of our fitness center for activity, and it's proved to be wildly successful. And our members and our residents love playing pickleball for the sake of the wellness features of it. But what has really come to the surface is the social interaction that we see. We have 4 tables, seating for 20, and our members and residents enjoy as much playing pickleball as they do socializing. And so many friendships have been created because we created that small setting. So this outdoor casual seating area allows us to create another space. Right now, all we have are metal benches around the green. They're cold, they're hard. It's kind of hard to have a conversation when you're side by side with somebody. It's time to upgrade and refine that design. Okay, I want to move on to the fitness center. Our fitness center is a very robust fitness center. It has 64,000 visits a year. 53,000 of those visits are for workouts. The majority of those workouts take place in the morning, and the majority of those morning workouts take place between 8 and 10 a.m. When I last designed a fitness center, it was at the Hartford Golf Club, and it was about 10 years ago. And it was pretty easy to design because we just filled the space with a lot of machines. Some cardio, but in the old days, you did a circuit. You went from one machine to the next. Today's wellness world, that's a very small part of working out. If we expand our fitness center, the machines will all stay, but that's the only part of the program that we have no need to expand. What has changed is stretching, free movement, functional training, and so forth. And those are areas that we very much lack with our footprint. So most of you know there are compaction issues in the morning. They're not horrible yet, but looking at our growth, we know in a couple years we're going to be out of space. We know as our sister clubs develop their fitness centers, we're not going to compete with them anymore. And members will move to other communities rather than decide, home buyers will move to other communities rather than decide to buy in the Brooks. As I said, we greatly need to increase the footprint for our stretching area. Our functional training space is almost non-existent. Behind the scenes, right now, we have a laundry room that's also used for staff breaks. It's used for clocking in, it's used for meetings, it's a storage room, and it's all on the size of a small bedroom. Last but not least, the gentleman would know, and I know this from working out this summer, our men's locker room changing area is very small. It really accommodates 4 gentlemen changing at once. We modestly would like to add 84 square feet, which allows 3 additional gentlemen to change. It's not much, but for all the other capital costs, we did not want to raise the ceiling any further. I want to talk about our personal training business a little bit because it's part of the workout space. We have the most successful personal training business in Southwest Florida, $300,000. We have 10 personal trainers on staff all the time on an annual basis. That's 5,000 training sessions. And on a daily basis, that's 13 or 14 sessions every single day. We continue to hear comments from our members that just work out alone that the personal trainers seem to get in the way when they're training other members. And we understand that. I had a personal trainer this summer. It was a great experience, but as soon as October came and things got a little bit busy, I felt totally uncomfortable in the space because you're stepping over each other. There's a need to have a dedicated space, not only for the trainers working out with you, but also functional training for yourself too. And there's no way that it fits into the current footprint. And obviously our successful LHO program, which has been outstanding for the club and it's been outstanding for many of you, plays right into the personal training piece, because when members graduate from that program, they want to keep the wellness and the fitness going, and with the personal trainers, for a lot of people, that's the best way to do it. Our personal training staff now, when they meet with you or they consult with you, there's really no space. There's one small office space, which is really a workspace that we sometimes have members come into. Part of the expansion is having a dedicated office space for whatever need. You also see a lot of the personal trainers sometimes just standing around as they're waiting for their next client. It may be 5 or 10 minutes, but there really is no place to go. So they end up standing around in the fitness workout area. Last but not least, small group training, many have seen, is starting to take off, and we've seen this outside our gates too, where 3 or 4 members are trained at once. It's almost impossible to do that now, except for an hour or 2 window of opportunity. But there's nothing better, and we know this from our own employee experiences of the peer pressure of working out with somebody, and this is a growing part of the wellness world. All right, I want to talk about a spa. We have a successful $200,000 business. It's continued to grow over the last 4 or 5 years. We feel we're plateauing now. We serve less than 20% of our members, but we know there's another 15 or 20% of our membership that go elsewhere for spa services. And we know why. We've taken 3 offices and we've converted them into a spa business. Our one small massage room is adjacent to our group exercise room. When there's a group class, we can't use that room. The other massage room is located next to the men's locker room. The sinks are about 4 feet away from the treatment bed. On the other wall in that same room is our men's sauna. When the men's sauna is turned on, the air conditioning needs to be turned down in that room, and then the air conditioning goes down in the main lobby. So it doesn't really function well. You also know, if you've received a treatment, that there's a lot of noise in the hallways, voices and foot traffic and so forth. That's the 60,000 visitors that we have. For a true spa experience, you walk into a serene, beautiful setting. It's peaceful, it's quiet. You probably have someplace you sit. You get into the mood, you go into the treatment room, and then afterwards, you also sort of come back slowly to reality. In our spa rooms, you come out to a busy hallway, and you're back to life, and it's hectic. It works for most of the members that use it now, but we know for our incoming generation, it's not acceptable. And it's probably not a business that is acceptable for us to continue in 2 or 3 years, because the spa is so big, so hot. You're a more modest population, but the members that are following you, and I know from my own kids, it's a me world. And spa and pampering is just a natural part of that for the next generation. Okay. Last but not least is the Richmond Center, where we are now. We use this facility for a lot of different things, for cards, for lectures, for classes. Over the last 5 years, we've seen a real spike in our classes. We add 20% volume and visits every single year. We host all the classes in this room, which divides into 2 classrooms. And we continue to run out of room, and we continue to turn away new features. Also this year, we introduced the Talents in Common program, which is from Spring Run. We've had 20 presentations, and it's members educating members. It's a wonderful program. We see it doubling next year. But in order to host all those classes, something else has to give, and we have to push something out from our offerings. So we're proposing to take what is our computer room and enlarge that space, almost double it, so it's about this size. So we would have 3 classrooms in the future. Also, to address member comments about taking better advantage of the green, we would like to remove the wall behind us, which is cabinets and so forth, and make it into a window wall. So if you're in this space and it's appropriate, you can enjoy the beauty of the outdoors. Last but not least, I want to say this is your club, this is your lifestyle, and this is your investment. We've taken all the feedback that you've given us for the last 2 years, from surveys, from workshops, from focus groups, and we did our best to try to develop the best plan for the future, both for you and the incoming generation. We hope you agree. Again, before you vote, if you have questions, see me anytime. I'm fully available. And again, thank you for being here.